Japanese customers made big purchases in the first quarter in order to avoid a tax hike. Now, this pushed Japan's economy into its biggest contraction since the March 2011 earthquake and tsunami. I'm joined on the line by Danske Bank's Flemming Nielsen. Now, Flemming, the central bank will now be under immense pressure. So what sort of actions are you expecting?
There will be some pressure on Bank of Japan here in the coming months. Basically, until now, they have not even acknowledged that there was downside risk on the Japanese economy from the hike in the consumer tax in April. So the first thing I think we will see is that in the statements from Bank of Japan we will have here in the coming months, I think they will start to soften in the sense that they will first start to acknowledge that the negative impact from the consumption tax hike is a risk for the Japanese economy. In late October, they will release a new forecast for the Japanese economy, and here I think it will be very hard to avoid a downward revision of the growth forecast. So at that meeting, I actually think that it is possible that they could announce some additional easing, increase the pace of the bond purchases, expand the quantitative easing. And even if they do not do it, I think that it is possible that they will do it at a later stage.
And we have an array of data out this week, including industrial production. Now, Flemming, in June, it had the worst fall in 3 years. So what do you think about July's findings?
Overall, I would say that the data, as you correctly mentioned, have been a little bit mixed. But on the balance, I think they have been mostly negative in the sense that they have indicated that, as I mentioned the previous, that this hike in the consumption tax, it's not going to be a cakewalk for the Japanese economy. Industrial production declined significantly. Retail sales has also been very. Consumer confidence, as you mentioned correctly, has been relatively resilient, and we will also say what is still positive about the Japanese economy, and probably is explanation why consumer confidence is still quite resilient, is that the labor markets have been quite strong with the unemployment rate continuing to decline, and there are also some stories about higher wage growth. And Bank of Japan's argument, because it has previously been arguing that the Japanese economy would be able to weather this consumption tax hike, and its argument has been that employment growth would be strong, and because of higher wage growth, there will be high income growth for the Japanese households, and this should be able to offset the negative impact from the consumption tax hike. On balance, I think that that's in my view quite unlikely, because the tax hike was from 5 to 8%, and that's quite dramatic. And even though there is a positive impact in isolation, at least from higher employment growth and higher wage growth, it will, in my view, at least in the short term, not be likely to offset the negative impact from the consumption tax hike. So on balance, as I said, I think the data are showing that growth has at least slowed markedly. We're not in a recession, but the Japanese economy has slowed markedly in the wake of the tax hike.
Now, Flemming, the yen fell today as a result of the poor growth and machinery orders data. How much further do you think it could actually fall over the coming weeks?
Short term, it is difficult, but basically we believe that maybe in 1 year we will have the Japanese yen at around more, maybe even above 110 against the US dollar. And I also think even in the short term, even though we have the geopolitical uncertainty, we will see the Japanese yen continue to weaken, possible above 103 against the US dollar here within the coming weeks.
Flemming, thank you very much. Well, viewers, do stay tuned as we have lots more just like this heading your way. See you very soon.